Hi guys, it's Sarah and Meadow and family here from Highland Haven Australian Shepherds, and this is episode 18 of our dog breeding video series. Okay guys, so obviously we have had our puppies. Meadow did a fantastic job. I know a lot of you have been following her progress, and she had a 6-hour delivery from about 12:30 p.m. till about 6:30 in the morning. We had a couple of surprise puppies, so we ended up with 8. 6 of whom are Merles, which is really unusual for us and very exciting. She has 2 tricolors, that little brown Simon who's climbing up the pile right now, and Trigon, who is a black tri laying right there. So let's talk about what we need to know at this point. So first of all, let's talk about the box. I know we've talked about the box a couple of times before. Let's talk about what it looks like when we have puppies in here. So I use this matting. I get it from Easy Whelp, the letter E, the letter Z Whelp online. It is designed for the whelping box. It is very thin. I'll show you guys. So it's a very thin mat. It has somewhat waterproofing here on the bottom. And it's completely low rise. There's no nap to it at all like you would have on a blanket or a towel. And those little loops of fabric you would get in a towel catch very easily on these little tiny toenails, little sharp toenails that these puppies have. So I find that using a mat made for this purpose as opposed to a rug or a towel or a blanket is just safer and easier to clean and works better. So the mat is obviously machine washable. You couldn't have anything here that was not machine washable, because in the first few days, in particular, it gets dirty and we have to change this box maybe 4 or 5 times a day, mostly because Meadow is still bleeding, and she's going to continue to bleed for several weeks after this. It will taper off certainly over the next few days, but she will still stain if she lays on something or occasionally have a drip of blood. And that's normal after a pregnancy. Right now, her discharge is very dark. It's almost black, and she's having diarrhea. All of that is really normal in the first postpartum days. I'm telling you guys that because it can be quite jarring to see if you're not expecting it, and you'll be on your phone with your vet, panic that there's something wrong with her. But rest assured, that's normal, as long as nothing is foul smelling, which is kind of funny to say because, of course, all poop is foul smelling, right? But you want it to be a normal poop smell. You will know if it's kind of an infection smell. You will be able to detect that by just, being around it when she's outside pooping or peeing or cleaning it up in the box. Other than that, it's normal. It's gross, but normal. And her poops should, straighten out in the next day or 2. Now remember, she's been saddled with removing all of the products of these 8 puppies from her system. So, it makes sense that the poor thing's having diarrhea. So her poops will sort of become more solid and more normal over the next week or so. But it is normal for a female to have soft stool until after her puppies are weaned. And she starts to wean them at about 8 weeks. About 3 weeks. not 8 weeks, poor dog. So we do change this mat several times a day, every time it gets dirty. She is also cleaning the pups. So she stimulates them to poop and pee. They cannot do it on their own at this age. So she's constantly licking them and getting them to poop and pee. And unfortunately for dogs, their job is to actually ingest the urine and feces. And so she will keep this box very clean. There will not be any puppy poops in this box because she'll consume it all at this stage. Another reason why she's going to have some soft stool until they are weaned. But it does help that she helps me keep this box clean. The pig rail is up. As you can see, she's leaning on it, right? So this allows the puppies to move behind her if they get behind her. Occasionally they'll get stuck in a corner, but it's not anything dangerous, they'll just start to scream and carry on until either she helps them out, they figure it out themselves, or until I get up and sort of move them into another part of the box. You want your mama to have access to food 24/7. So this is the time that you're going to be giving her free access to a full bowl of food all day long, all night long. She has been switched to puppy food at this point. She needs that extra nutrients in there, the extra calories, the change in protein amounts, and certainly the change in calcium amounts that you get in puppy food as opposed to adult food. She gets a full bowl, and when it's empty, it gets refilled. And she needs a full bowl of fresh water constantly because, of course, she's losing a lot of fluid by nursing these puppies. So you want to make sure that she's able to rehydrate herself at all times. She will also need extra potty breaks, as you can imagine. She's going to have to go out and pee more often, poop more often, and she should let you know. If you have the type of mama who refuses to leave the box, and they're out there, Meadow is reluctant, but she does listen to her body when it says that she's got to go poop or pee, and she will come out of the box. And then as soon as I open the door, she races like a Scooby-Doo across the floor to get back in the box when she's in from outside. But sometimes mother dogs refuse to leave the box, and then it's up to you to say, no, you need to go out, stretch your legs, and relieve yourself outside. When she comes inside, there's going to be a little bit of cleanup before you let her in the box. I do not sterilize their paws or wash their paws. If it's muddy outside, I'll certainly wipe them off and make sure they're free of mud. But it's okay for your puppies to be exposed to, all kinds of environmental, things, mud, dirt, and things like that, as long as it's not in the box. So we don't have to worry about disinfecting anything when she comes in. But you will need to wipe her private area when she comes in because she will be dripping. She may have blood on the hair around her legs. It can get messy, as you can imagine. So you definitely want to make sure you wipe her off before she goes back in the box. It's okay for the puppies to be exposed to that kind of thing from her, but it just makes your box dirty. So you want to wipe her off, give it a chance to wipe her off before she gets back in that box. We're going to watch for signs that mommy is doing well. Of course, the most dangerous would be eclampsia, and we talked about that in a previous episode about how her calcium can crash and cause eclampsia, right? So calcium deficiency of that magnitude will not allow her muscles to work anymore. And so what you'll see is fever, so listlessness, like she's not feeling well, and also stiffness of muscles because the calcium is required for muscles to work. So you might see a seizure, you might see shaking, like violent shaking of her legs, her body, and stiffness, unable to sort of walk and control her body. Those are all very serious complications and need to be corrected by an IV of calcium at your vet's office, and time is of essence. So that's really scary. That's something that I'm always watching for, and I'm really glad a week or two in, once everybody is settled, and I'm much more confident that that's not going to be a problem for her. So you'll see periodically, the puppies will mostly eat, like maybe 23 out of 24 hours a day. They're on that milk bar, either eating or falling asleep with a nipple in their mouth and just laying there. I have this heat lamp here, which Meadow very generously lays under because she's such a good mother. She certainly doesn't need the heat. You can imagine how hot it is having these 8 puppies on you. The room I keep at between 72 and 75, and that's really hot for her. But at this age, with these very young puppies, these day-old puppies, they can get chilled and die pretty quickly if they get too cold. So I do keep the ambient temperature in the room around 75, and I also do this heat lamp. The heat lamp is in one corner of the box, and this is important, guys. So only one corner. So if Meadow is out of the box, the puppies will naturally, if they're chilly, they'll naturally move towards the heat, and they'll end up in this corner in a pile under the heat lamp. If they're too hot, their instincts will tell them to move away from the heat, and they'll be in another part of the box away from the heat. Oh my gosh, look at this girl. She's so good. So a heat lamp should not cover the whole box because you want to have a cool side and a warm side. Okay, important, because puppies can overheat really easily as well. When your mother is not in the box, you're going to see the puppies do pile up usually together, right? They're looking for comfort from each other and also usually warmth. So you will be able to tell if your box or your ambient temperature is too warm in the room if your puppies are all completely separated in different parts of the box, right? Overheated puppies, or puppies that are too, I don't want to say overheated because that's a different thing, but puppies that are a little too warm will not lay with each other, okay? And then you have puppies that are too cold. Those puppies will be crying, and they'll be climbing on top of each other to try to keep warm in a very tight puppy pile. That is an indication that your puppies need some heat, some external heat. So they need to be either under a heat lamp or under their mother's belly, like this. Puppies that are in a box with the right temperature are puppies who are in a pile but are not desperately crawling on each other. So a loose pile is an indication that your puppies are of the right temperature. So you want to keep an eye on that. Normal growing puppies will twitch and squeak almost constantly. See the little twitching? This is their neurons connecting. It's very normal. So they're quite noisy. So all night long you just hear little squeaks and cries and movement of them twitching. So all of that's really normal, and that is something that you want. You want to see happening in your puppies. Okay, Mama. So here's little Trigon. I just want to show you guys his umbilical cord. Yes, Mama. I'm going to put him back. So here's his little umbilical cord at a day old. That's about, I don't know, maybe 30 hours old. You can see it's just a black, scab. Meadow has, and she's also making him pee. See him pee? Good girl, Med. She likes it when we hold them because then she can really clean them up really without them squirming away. So this is a very normal, healthy umbilical cord. You want it to dry up, like a little scab there. It's sticking out a little bit. That little piece of dead skin will flake off on its own, or Mom will lick it off over the next few days. She does a very good job with the umbilical cords. She will work on them. Once they're born, she will work on them, and it can look a little bit scary because she'll really be chomping on them and picking at them. Most moms know what they're doing, but you do want to oversee it, especially with a new mom. So he is really complaining that he is not with, and she just laid on them all. He's a bit of a complainer, Trigon, so he just wants to go back with Mommy. Good boy. All right, so he's looking for her, and his instincts are to keep going towards what he smells, which is the milk bar. It's important to sort of let them find their mom when they get separated. It's hard to do because the mom sometimes will panic, but the more you let them find their mom, the better at it they become, and the quieter the litter is at night, and the easier it is for Mom. Because although they're crawling, they roll over all the time. Like, they can't even stay upright, even though they're on their bellies. So they'll sometimes roll all the way across the box if they really get going and get pretty far separated. They're blind and deaf, so they're only depending on their sense of smell to find their mom again. They get weighed twice a day at this age. For the first 5 days, I weigh them twice a day. They will lose weight, usually. More than half of them will lose weight their first day or two of life. And we're talking about, tenths of an ounce. That's pretty normal from the actual birth through about the first 48 hours. But you do want to keep an eye on it. So if it's anything significant, you want to make sure that you're giving that puppy extra time on the milk bar. The nipples that are more productive are the ones that are down by her back legs. In between her back legs are the most nutritious and productive nipples on the milk bar. So if you have a smaller pup who keeps getting knocked off the milk bar or maybe isn't gaining weight like you'd like, those are the nipples you're going to put that puppy on. The nipples up towards her chest here are, certainly give milk and are fine for strong, healthy puppies. But the ones between her legs are the ones that are most productive and the ones that you want to hand pick your little guys to put on if, you really think that they need more nutrition. All right, I know this is a lot of information, guys, but I did want to back up here and show you how we have her whelping box set up at this point. As you can see, we have a gate with a door. We have her food and water at all times, and this gate covers the whelping box. There's a couple of reasons for this. It's not that I want to lock her in there necessarily. As you can see, the door is open and she has no desire to leave that box. That's her mothering instincts, wanting to keep her with her own babies. She certainly needs to be able to get away from those puppies if she needs to cool off or if she just needs a break. And that's why we have this area here where she can hop out of the box and sort of lay on the cool floor, get herself something to eat or drink, and just give herself a breather from those puppies if she needs it. However, we don't want any of the other dogs to have access to that whelping box at this stage. It would cause a serious dog fight. Her instincts are to, really protect that whelping box and those puppies. And even the sweetest dog in the world will turn into a raging, mother bear if she sees strangers or if she sees even her bonded dogs that live in the house with her or the stud of this litter come anywhere near this litter. So it's for her benefit that I have this fence up. I am on my lower level and I do have a fence at the top of my stairs so that other dogs cannot come down here. But what if something were to happen? Somebody left that fence open, that gate open, and they came roaring down the stairs. It's important that she is always protected from that. And she always has this fence up. And this will last for about the first week, 10 days, until she relaxes with these puppies, and she will let me know when she's more comfortable. On the flip side, I do want the dogs in this house to get used to this litter of puppies. They're going to be living with them for the next 2 months. So periodically today, day 2, I will let them down here and sort of hang out in the room and get used to the sounds and the smells, and for Meadow to get used to them being in the room but being more confident that they can't get to her puppies so she can relax. The third thing that this fence provides for Meadow is it prevents her from taking any of the puppies out of the box and stashing them around the room. In those first 5 days, they are most overwrought, the mothers. They're overwhelmed, they're tired, it's their instincts, their mothering instincts are warming up, and sometimes they decide they need a new whelping box. And then that new whelping box might be your couch or under your desk or on the other side of the room. And she will take the puppies out of the box and start stashing them all about your house. That's, of course, very dangerous for multiple reasons. So we don't want that to happen. So I do close this fence, this gate, whenever she is alone in this room. So if she has that weird instinct to take them out of this very safe environment and put them somewhere else in the room, she's prevented from doing so. So this fence is very important if you have more than one dog in the house, and for that first week that you have these little puppies. So I know this is a lot of information, guys. This is a long video. If you've made it to the end, thank you. It is more geared towards people who are looking to actually breed dogs. All of this information is super important. There's a lot to know once you do have the puppies live and in the flesh. Your first priority is, of course, to keep your mother dog healthy. And then a very close second is to make sure that these puppies thrive. So there's a lot to know. And it can be quite stressful. So I wanted to share all that with you guys. So that's it for this video. If you're enjoying this series, please like, follow, comment, and share. And also, guys, I do have birthing videos of the puppies actually being born from Meadow. I have several of them. I do want to post them, but not on Instagram. I will be posting them to my YouTube channel, Highland Haven Aussies. I just feel like because they're uncensored, YouTube is a more appropriate place to post them than here on Instagram. So feel free to go over to my channel, and if you do, please subscribe and take a look at those birthing videos if you want to see that. They're really quite fascinating. So take care, guys. I will post another video soon. Thanks for hanging out and for all the love and support. That's it. I'm signing off. I'll see you guys later. Bye.